know the story about the man who gets the call from his doctor. The doctor says, I have bad news and worse news. The man sits down, what's the bad news? He says, the test results are in, you have 24 hours to live. The man says, what could be worse than that? The doctor says, I've been trying to call you since yesterday. The bad news is you have to endure me for 2 to 3 minutes. The worst news is it's a Jewish 2 or 3 minutes. Who knows how long that will take? Yeah, well, it's not the first time I've been removed from a stage. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rabbi Shmuley Gotzeach, and I've lived in Englewood for 12 years. I was raised in Los Angeles and Miami. I did a detour at the University of Oxford for 11 years where I served as rabbi to the students. I'm married to an Australian woman and we have 9 children, thank God. I have a daughter who just today entered the Israeli army where she trains soldiers in combat. She's a young woman. And I have a son who was nominated recently for West Point. I believe that the crisis facing our nation is not only an economic crisis. I believe it is primarily a values crisis. I believe that the foundation and principles upon which this great nation is built is eroded. And it's time that we had a values voice in Congress in order to address that values corrosion. And all of the principles, values, and policies that we hold dear, whether it's that there should be smaller government in order to empower the individual, these all have values foundations that need to be articulated. Of course people want food, clothing, shelter, and especially jobs. But they want to earn those things by the sweat of their brow. Every person seeks dignity in life, and dignity comes from self-reliance. And the more any of us are made wards of the state, the more our dignity is slowly eroded as well. The same thing is true with some of the great values-based battles that have gone on across the nation. We just heard this morning that the California Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage, that the ban on gay marriage was overruled. But the truth is that some of these things have been distractions, and they've caused Republicans to appear divisive. You want to save the institution of marriage in the United States? Go after the monstrous 50% divorce rate. I'm a child of divorce. I'm tired of American children being raised like yo-yos going from household to household. Let's introduce legislation that would make marital counseling tax deductible in the United States so couples who are in crisis can get the help they need. And if you want to talk about abortion, 99% of all abortions come about through single women who are impregnated by men who don't respect them and abandon them, which is why they don't want to raise that child. Let's talk about the respect for women. Let's talk about a values-based society that actually has certain core beliefs by which we live, and show that we can unite people through these universal values which underpin our beliefs, our policies, and our principles. I'm a rabbi, and I believe firmly that faith can play a role in America, and that separation of church and state was never meant. It was meant to ensure that no religious creed is ever imposed on the body politic, but neither was it supposed to chase God from the public arena. I want to be honest with you. I want to make sure that I'm the right candidate for all of you and for this party. It is highly unorthodox, no pun intended, for a rabbi to run for Congress. And I will be examining very closely, scrutinizing very carefully over the next 30 days, up until the convention, as to whether or not I would be the right candidate for you and whether you could win with someone like me. I'm actively raising money and trying, but I want you to know that the decision will be firm when I feel that I can really represent this party ably, nobly, and winningly. God bless you all. Thank you.